ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम सदाशिवसमारम्भां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्त गोचरं तमगोचरम् गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। Hari Om, salutations to all. So we were seeing that the student has experienced the absolute and was expressing his wonder. So it may be both ways. It may be that he is expressing the wonder to people, or it may be thinking it for himself. It could be either ways. So he said, where is this world? From where it came, how it disappeared. I just had seen it now, and suddenly, who took it away? That was one expression, one experience. Also, the hailstone example was given, that when the hailstone falls into the ocean, how it just melts and becomes one. In the same way, the buddhi has been dissolved as though. The salt doll example of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. So, buddhi galita, buddhi nashta and galita pravritti. All the doership is also gone because buddhi went, so with that doership also went. Then what is the experience? Brahma Atmana Ekataya Adhigatya. Brahman and Atman are one. That this person has experienced. All intellectual concepts have been transcended. Then 486 we saw, the last shloka. Na kinchid atra pashyami na shrunomi na vedmyaham. Where one doesn't see anything other than oneself. So that is what he says. One doesn't see, one doesn't hear, one doesn't know. Swatmanaiva sada ananda rupena asmi vilakshanaha. One only knows that there is one pure bliss, pure consciousness, and that is most unique and distinct from everything else, vilakshana. Everything else here means not, it is in comparison to the world and the pleasures in the world. It is just to give a contrast for that. It doesn't mean that duality is existing for that person. So now, having experienced this, he is very grateful to the teacher. Goes and prostrates to the teacher. 487. Namo namaste gurave mahatmane vimukta sangaya saduttamaya nityadvayananda rasasvarupine bhumne sada paradayambu dhamne. So he says, Namo namaste. He bows down to the teacher, salutations to the teacher, Gurave Mahatmane, the great teacher, Vimukta Sangaya, The teacher is free from all attachments. Saduttamaya, amongst all there can be many saints and noble people, but teacher is the best amongst them. Why? Because the teacher destroyed the delusion of the student. Nitya Advayananda Rasa Swarupine, constantly who is abiding in the bliss of the non-dual self. Bhumne, who is infinite. Bhuma means infinite. Sada Aparadayambu Dhamne, and always who is an endless ocean of compassion. Now, having experienced the truth, when one comes into, again, explanation at our level, when one comes down to body level, there is one entity, what we have learnt earlier as the Badhita Ahankara. Prarabdha of the body is there, so there has to be one entity which is running this, and functional identity will be there. And so that Badhita Ahankar, it is called Badhita because one knows that that is not one's nature. One's nature is this, Sadananda. That's why earlier Shloka said, Swatmana Eva. By oneself, one is abiding in the true nature, which is Sadananda, which is pure consciousness. But the entity is still there as long as the body lasts. But the Mahatma knows, that the student who has realized, that person knows this entity is false. For us, this entity is very real. That's why we are bound. They have realized that it is a false entity, not just by intellectual knowledge, by experience. So when one is abiding in the absolute, but still when one comes in front of the Guru, one will feel gratitude. One should not say, but how can there be? Because the Guru also realized the same truth. So now Shishya is equal to the Guru. You know, there is a very nice shloka in a composition called Tattva Upadesha. So there he says, Bhava Advaitam Sada Kuryam, Bhava Advaitam Sada Karyam, Kriya Advaitam Na Kutrachit. Bhava Advaitam Sada Karyam, meaning in Bhavana, one should remain in Advaita Bhavana, that there is one pure consciousness which is inside, outside, everywhere, and that is the bhav of the person now. The Jiva bhav is replaced by Brahma bhav, Advaita bhav. So bhavadvaitam sada karyam, kriya advaitam na kutrachit. Advaita is not in the action, it is in the vision. In action, whatever role one is playing, appropriately one will act. If the mother comes in front, one will prostrate because she is the mother. Even a sannyasi will prostrate to the mother. So there is no, in Advaita, in Kriya there is no Advaita. Kriya Advaitam na kutrachit. Especially, he says, Advaitam Trishu Lokeshu. You may be in the state of Advaita even with respect to all the three worlds, but na Advaitam Guruna Saha. Don't do any Advaita with the Guru. Don't say that which Guru, what Shishya, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. Why Shankaracharya himself said that, Na bandhur na mitram gurur naiva shishya Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. So after I realized the truth, now what Guru, who Shishya? There is no Guru, there is no Shishya, nothing. So if Guru comes, hello Guru, how are you? No, no. Guruna saha na advaitam. That's why Namo Namaste Gurave. He prostrates to the Guru, full of gratitude. And one should not say that, oh, the person is reveling in Advaita, then what gratitude towards which entity, who is there, world is also not there, why is he prostrating? No. Because rest of the time one is acting with the Badhita Ahankar. So when Guru comes in front, one does the prostration. That also is Badhita only. That also is falsified. From the absolute standpoint, that is also falsified. But at the relative standpoint, one has to live with that bhav of gratitude towards the Guru. Because what the Guru has done, nobody else can do. Remove the delusion of the student, not only shown the path, guided on the path, remove the questions and obstacles, protect the disciple, and finally going beyond also happens by Guru's grace. So the gratitude that the student feels is tremendous. And there is no question of doing any Advaita with the teacher. However great a person may become, one will go and sit at the feet of the teacher only. And that's why he does that here. Namo Namaste Gurave Mahatmane. And these are qualities of the teacher. Vimukta Sangaya Saruttamaya. He is free from all attachments. So the Guru doesn't have any attachment to the world, nor to the Shishya, nor to anyone. Not even to one's own body, mind, intellect, none of those. Vimukta Sangaya. And Saduttamaya. Of all the noble ones, he is the greatest. Why? Because he is the one who has removed the ignorance. There may be many saints, but the tuning is with the Guru. All saints are great in their own way. That's why Saduttamaya. Of all the great noble ones, he is the best. He or she, whoever it is. Because the tuning has happened of the student with the teacher. And hence, for the student, the teacher is the noblest. Saduttamaya. And Nityananda Swarupini. Nitya Dvayananda Swarupini. Nitya Dvayananda Swarupini. The Advaitic realization the Guru is ever established in. So the disciple is also having Advaitic realization, Guru is also having Advaitic realization, but still the disciple will prostrate to the Guru. Still the disciple will express gratitude because that is what is appropriate from Vyavahar standpoint also, and that is what the disciple also feels, grateful to the Guru. Because the Guru is, what the Guru has done is indescribable. The finite has been transformed into the infinite. Rather discovered the infinite as one's own self. And no holding back. You see, many times what happens in other fields, the Guru may hold back some knowledge, may not give everything to the disciple. Sometimes, I'm not saying every time, but sometimes some gurus do that. They will hold back, or they will give only to selected people, or they will give only to their own family members certain specific secrets and knowledge. They won't give to everyone. So they may hold back. This Guru doesn't hold back anything. Give, and give fully. Why? Because the Guru himself or herself is established in the Absolute. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to, the Guru is not deriving any identity or any sense of self-importance by holding on to anything else. That's why Vimukta Sangaya is free from all attachments. Otherwise, one derives the self-importance by holding on to certain things. It may be some money, it may be some knowledge, it may be some special powers, it can be anything. Here, Guru has not held back anything, given everything, and Bhume, who is become one with the infinite, who is not having the sense of Jiva Bhav and finitude, so no insecurities. In the Upanishads, it is said, Bhuma vai Sukham. That which is infinite is pure bliss. Bhuma vai Sukham. Sada apara dayambudhamne. And ever the limitless ocean of compassion. How many ever times the disciple may go to the teacher, ask doubts, the Guru will clear. Disciple makes mistakes also, Guru accommodates. Disciple gets distracted, Guru brings him back. What all the Guru does for the disciple is indescribable. And hence he says, ever an ocean of compassion, kindness. Because Guru doesn't need to do any of that. Just because of compassion, one is doing it. So the disciple prostrates, surrenders. Continuing, he again expresses that gratitude in a different way now. Yat kataksha shashisa Yat kataksha shashisandra chandrika patadhuta bhavatapajashramaha praptavanaham akhandaiva bhava anandatma padam kshanat. Yat kataksha, with the side glance, Shashi Sandra Chandrika Pata Dhuta Bhava Tapajashramaha. One full compound. Just by the side glance, the Guru has removed the fatigue of the student. How? Like how the moon removes the moonbeams. Shashi Sandra Chandrika. The moonbeams cool down the earth. Here in the sense, the world, when he says Chandrika, Patadhuta, Bhavatapa. Bhavatapa is the miseries in the world. Ajashrama. Ajashrama. So like it is so hot in the day, especially in summer time, it is very, very hot. And then in the night it becomes cool down. Moon as though is providing that cooling, healing effect. The scorching heat of the sun, the earth is as though, getting so warmed up and hot, and there is a lot of suffering because of that heat. People get heat stroke, people, they have dehydration. When water is not available, many of the plants and all this die also. So it is scorching, terrible pain, sorrow. One doesn't want to go out. So the winds are also so warm, and that sun is so hot. So even to have no cap or without glasses when one goes is very painful. But in the night, none of that happens. It is cooling. Moon as though cools the whole place. So in the same way, his Guru has brought coolness to the santapa in the heart of the disciple. All that trouble and pain and sorrow and misery and the feeling of being bound, being helpless, being victim, all that is gone. How? Just by the side glance, kataksha. Praptavan aham, akhanda vaibhava. By the side glance of the teacher, one has attained what? Akhanda vaibhava, unlimited glory. Akhanda vaibhava. Then anandatma padam kshana. Of the nature of bliss, anandatma pada, the state of bliss, which is one's true nature, which is indestructible, akshayam, kshanat, as though in a moment, by the side glance, in a moment, one has as though crossed over this ocean of samsara. All the miseries and sufferings ended with that. So now, many people keep waiting. When will the Guru look at me like that? Kataksha drishti. Even Swami Vidyaranya, when he invokes his Guru, he is the author of Panchadashi. Like we study Tattva Bodha as a Prakarana Grantha, he, in the traditional study of Vedanta, one studies Panchadashi. 1500 shlokas are there in that, in 15 chapters, covering all the fundamentals of Vedanta and going much more deeper. Tapon Maharaj taught Panchadashi to Gurudev. Before the Upanishad, it was Panchadashi that he taught. So, the point here is that in that invocation also, he says, Kataksha Kirana Chanta Naman Mohabhaye Namaha. The ocean of Moha, delusion, is dried up just by the Kataksha Kirana, by a ray of the side glance of the teacher. Moha Abdhaye, one who has destroyed. So salutations to that Guru. Similar thing is expressed here. So some people keep waiting. When will the Guru look? Kataksha Drishti. Sometimes the Guru is looking directly also, nothing has happened to the student. What to talk about Kataksha Drishti? So this is not to say that, okay, I will keep waiting. Kataksha Drishti means even one instruction of that Guru, when one has completely internalized, it destroys the moha. Kataksha. Side glance, not even direct look, just a side glance. Meaning, when in a side glance, we don't pay much attention, it's just a glance. When we look straight or when we are looking carefully, then there is much more attention, awareness in that look. Side glance, nothing much. We just look and we turn away again. But that side glance is enough for the disciple to cross over this ocean of samsara. That's what he says. Meaning, application of that knowledge that the Guru has given, we take one instruction also and internalize it completely, is enough to take us across. Volumes and volumes of scriptures and texts are not required. We may study it for understanding, for knowledge, for reflection, that is a different matter. But Kataksha means that. And just like in Kataksha, it's a side glance, it's a flash of a moment it happens. In the same way, this entire journey, which is not in just one lifetime, many lifetimes, one has gone through birth and death and that whole process. It seems very long, but it ends like this, in a flash as though it has ended. One came to the Guru gave the knowledge, if one is ready for it, one contemplated and in a flash it is over. Whole ocean of samsara destroyed. All the lifetimes of karma bandhana destroyed. Causal body destroyed. Subtle body, the ahankara part, psychological entity part gets badhit, So Kataksha means that effortlessly, in a flash, destroyed. Just like how one wakes up quickly, in that way. Kshanat, that's what he says. Kshanat means in a flash, quickly. Also, this is like a expression of the glory of the Guru's grace. That direct look is also not required with full attention, just a side glance is enough. The power of the Guru and the abidance of the Guru in the knowledge and the self is so much that one side glance is enough. One should not take this literally, because the Guru looks at the disciple in many cases for a long time also, directly seeing, talking, explaining, many such things. But everybody doesn't come to realize it in that way. A prepared student will. So the idea is not to become lazy, lethargic, saying ki I am waiting. Whenever the Guru looks at me with a side glance, then I will realize. No, no. The idea is to put forth our efforts to become eligible even to receive that side glance and benefit from it. Like the sunlight is there everywhere. If my doors are closed, my windows are closed, I can't get it, even though it is there. Rainy season now. If I want to collect water, then I must have the vessel in a receptive manner. If it is turned upside down, no water can be collected. So Guru's grace is showering all the time. I have to become receptive. That is my sadhana. And here it is the namaskar that he is doing to the Guru is for glorifying the Guru, because no amount of glorification will do any justice to what the Guru has done to the disciple. So this is not an exaggeration also. It is a fact. Kataksha. Kataksha Drishti. The vision. And the Guru is also capable of passing it on just through the vision. So it is not even just an analogy. It is a fact also. And that's the reason why some people keep waiting. So this shloka has some of these different layers to understand. The Guru is capable of transferring through the drishti also. We have seen that earlier, the Chakshu Diksha it is. Just before Ramakrishna Paramhamsa passed away, he transferred his power, his spiritual power to Vivekananda just by look. People today, they get so fascinated, you know. Earlier, if you connect two devices with a wire and then you transfer one data from the other, was so good, fascinating. Now you don't need wire. Two wireless devices, two Bluetooth devices are there and they transfer data between each other. One is so fascinating. Wow, so easy. Or you bring some, in Apple computer, they have that airport utility. So you bring the phone close to the computer and through the airport mode you connect, now you transfer. That has come now. The Guru has been transferring spiritual knowledge just by look thousands of years back, just by Kataksha Kirana. Transfer the power, make the disciple realize. So it is not that it doesn't happen, it happens. The Guru looks is enough. But it should not mislead us, and that has misled so many people because they don't put their effort. Then even if the Guru looks, nothing is happening. So we should ensure that that effort we put. Here the disciple is expressing gratitude that it is the grace, it is your side glance, meaning effortlessly you have destroyed my illusion. So I am very grateful to you, and one prostrates. So that is 488. one more shloka he is explaining, which is about the gratitude. Dhanyoham kritakrityoham vimuktoham bhavagrahat nityananda swarupoham purnoham tadanugrahat. Dhanyoham, blessed I am. To find a guru itself is a great blessing. Then the guru accepting you is another great blessing. When Gurudev was asked, what is the difference between a saint and a guru? So saints are many, but the guru is one who accepts you as the disciple. Many devotees can go to saints. Many admirers will go to saints. But when this seeker or this devotee goes to the guru and surrenders and says, please accept me as your disciple, and the guru takes the disciple under his or her wings, then that is the guru. And now that student also has become a disciple now. The student meaning that individual has become the disciple now. So when the person, the seeker has the bhav of shishya and the guru accepts that shishya, then that is great blessing. So to find a guru only is a great blessing. Then to associate, serve the teacher, get the knowledge, and through that contemplate and get abidance in the self. That is amazing. So dhanyoham. You know the stories, if you read the stories of the gurus in the Sikh tradition, amazing stories of supreme faith. Even today, their faith in the guru is most inspiring. And these gurus also have done so much of sacrifice. It is sometimes it feels very sad also that what all they have been put through and how much they have fought against the invaders and all of them. Their children also have been treated so badly, burnt alive, you know, store, the brick wall in that they have been buried alive. What all has been done with them? Some of them, their skin has been removed, eyes have been removed. Inexplicable suffering they have gone through for the protection of the country from the invaders, from the destruction of the culture, resisting conversion, all that. So my point of bringing this up is that the faith that the disciples have and the gratitude that the disciples have for the guru is most inspiring. When we visit the golden temple also, how beautifully they are doing seva there and what bhavana is there behind that. It is very nice. Those things one has to uh, inculcate, imbibe. And here it is that the student is feeling so grateful that the sacrifices of the guru are inexplicable. We may feel we have left home and come. What has the guru done? Guru could have been sitting quietly. But what all the guru goes through for the student. So he says, Dhanyoham. This is not an ego of the disciple. This is the expression of gratitude. One feels, I am so blessed, I am so grateful that I got a guru. Because, to not have a guru is a problem. Really, it is a problem. In our culture, that person is sometimes looked down upon. Nigura is called Nigura. Doesn't have a guru. Because when one is a Nigura, then there is a lot of ego only one is operating out of, but the altar of surrender is not there. You may say, no, what if that person is surrendered to Bhagwan? Then Bhagwan is the Guru. Even there, Bhagwan can be the Guru, there is no doubt. And Bhagwan alone is the Guru, truly speaking. But to find a Guru who is manifest, that's a matter of great blessing. And the scriptures also tell us that to find a Guru, go and seek the knowledge from them. Prapya varan nibodhata. Varan means the Guru. Uttishtata jagrata prapya varan nibodhata. Don't try to gain this knowledge by yourself. Go to a Guru. So here he says, Dhanyoham, I am blessed. I found a Guru like you, and I found the means to realization. Kritakrityoham, I have done what needs to be done by your grace, because you have pointed out the goal, shown the way, made it possible for me to walk, helped me on the way, and made me realize. Kritakrityoham. There is nothing more that needs to be done. Kritakrityata means fulfillment. Because one has gained that, gaining which nothing more remains to be gained. There is no sense of incompleteness. There is no sense of something, what next. There is no such feeling. One feels so fulfilled. Nothing more one wants, because infinity, there is nothing greater than infinity. So dhanyoham, kritakrityoham, vimuktoham. I have become free. From what? Bhavagrahat. So graha here means shark. Ga and ra, half ra. So graha means shark. Graha can also mean planet, but here it Bhavagraha means the shark of samsara, transmigration. Ga with Rishika R, Graha is house. So you should not mix. Most of the people mix this Ra and R. They mix it up. So they'll say Krishna, 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 all confusion. It is Ka with a R, Ka with a R, Rishika R. It is not Ka with half R. It is not Krishna, not Krishna. It is Krishna. R, Rishika R it is. So Graha means that shark. The shark is eating us. How strange, we don't know also. Till one comes to the Guru, or sometimes here the disciple has at least that sensitivity that the person came to know of the sorrow of suffering in the world and has come seeking the refuge of the Guru. Many times we don't know also that we are being consumed by the shark of samsara. Happily we are living. So he says, by your grace, anugrahat bhavagrahat. So it is rhyming in that way, that by your grace, I have been freed from this shark of this transmigration. And what have I experienced? Nitya Ananda Swarupoham. I experience I am of the nature of eternal bliss. Purnoham. I am fulfilled. So transmigration has ended. That's why the Guru, the disciple is so grateful to the Guru. Because imagine no more birth and death. At least no more birth and death out of ignorance. Birth and death by itself is not a problem. Issue is only I don't know who am I. Then I keep going round and round in this samsara. That has ended. So because that has ended now, there is so much of relief. See, somebody ends our hunger. Hunger pang when we are suffering, there is no food and somebody gives food. We feel, oh, thank God. Somebody gives water when we are extremely thirsty. Yes, thank God. We feel grateful to that person who gave that food or that water. Money is not there. So many people going through that challenging time right now. And whoever comes to help is as though God sent, and that person feels very thankful, grateful. Now imagine one who has Guru who has removed the cycle of birth and death. No more one has to go into that Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. That is called Bhavagraha. That has been destroyed. So he feels very grateful. In this commentary, if you see, Gurudev has given one comparison of the shark and his samsara. He says samsara is compared to a shark because the shark will not eat you up limb by limb. It will swallow you whole, suit and boot. The digestion takes place without your knowledge, even when you are living inside. In the chambers of the belly, you can walk about. You can go to office, you can eat, sleep, breathe, and the digestive secretions will slowly work upon you and reduce you to a deplorable state. Are we not living this living death in the belly of samsara? This is his style. Just imagine being swallowed fully and inside in that. Terrible it is. Of course, you can't go to office and all that. That's an analogy that we are in the belly of samsara and we don't even know. If you actually go into the belly of the shark, finished. Oxygen is cut, one will die very soon. Then whatever happens to the body will happen and finished one is. But the point here Gurudev is trying to make is that we can go to office, we can have relationship, we can have sports, we can have so many things, not even knowing that we have been consumed by the shark. We are in the samsara, in the belly of the shark. That's what he's trying to explain through that. Now the student has come out of all this and experienced so much of gratitude. Now he is, so three verses are on the gratitude of the student to the teacher. Now the verses that come, they are expressing his state of realization. But these verses also are beautiful to contemplate. Each of us in our sadhana, in our seeking, we can contemplate on these verses to negate our false identification with the Jiva Bhav, with the BMI, and assert more and more the absolute reality. So these are now contemplative verses. So now you see here the commentary of Gurudev says the teacher has been advising and guiding the student up to verse 478. From verse 482 onwards, it is the student who is talking. Having realized this selfhood, the student talks about his experience of the infinitude. From 482 to 489, he was talking as the PFT. Now the entire vision has changed. Having reached the Paramatman, the individual who has become the self cries out in the ecstasy of his identification with Brahman. These verses help the sadhakas in their contemplation. So these verses we can use for that. Apart from it being the direct experience of the uh, disciple, we can use them in our contemplation. Asango hamanango ham alingo hamabhanguraha prashanto hamananto ham amaloham chirantanaha. So he says asangoham, unattached I am. Anangoham, I don't have a body. See, Kamdev was burnt by Lord Shiva, and Rati, the wife of Lord Shiva, wife of Kamdev, went to Lord Shiva. And she said, I am very sorry my husband disturbed you in your meditation, but he was doing a selfless act for the Devatas because they need a child to be born to you and Parvati so that this Vritrasura can be killed. And so he didn't come to disturb you on his own. It was a job given to him. And there it is for Lok Kalyan that he did. So please have some mercy and restore him. And so Bhagwan Shivji gave the boon to Rati, that I will restore Kamdev, but he will not be in the physical form. He will be in the form, in a Sukshma form. That's why Kamdev also is called Ananga. No body, no physical form. And they say also, not today also the psychiatrists and all of them will tell you that it is more in the mind. Lust plays more in the mind. Then it may manifest at body level, but it is in the mind. And so, Anangoham here can mean no body. The person has gone beyond body identification and hence has gone beyond lust, passion also. All of those 6 impurities. So, Asangoham, detached. Anangoham, no body identification. Alingoham, Linga Sharira here means, Linga word means subtle body. The literal meaning of the word Linga is indicator, an indicator. So subtle body, the presence of subtle body in this gross body is the indicator of life in this body. The moment this subtle body ejects out of the gross body, this gross body drops dead. So the Linga word means indicator. So Shivalinga means that which indicates Lord Shiva. And here Linga means the subtle body. So Alingoham meaning my subtle body also has gone. Meaning Jiva Bhava has gone. Body identification gone, Jiva Bhava gone, complete detachment. Asangoham, Anangoham, Alingoham. Then Alingoham, Abhanguraha. I am unperishable, imperishable. Bhangura. I am indestructible. Bhanga means to destroy. Abhangura means indestructible. Prashantoham. Most peaceful I am. Not the peace of mind, peace of the self. Peace of mind comes and goes. Atma Shanti. Anantoham. Till now I thought I am finite. I am infinite. Prashantoham, Anantoham, Amaloham. Purest I am. No impurities in me. And Chirantanaha. I am endless. No boundaries, no beginning, no end. Infinity is like that. No beginning, no end, no change. So these verses one can use to deny and to negate all the false identification. We think I have a body today, so the pointer says Anangoham. We feel we are the Jiva, pointer says Alingoham. We feel we are perishable, pointer says Abhanguraha. We may feel we are disturbed, agitated, it says you are Prashanta. So each of these pointers we can use to negate our false identification with the Jiva. Akarta hama bhuta ham avikaro ham akriyah shuddha bodha swarupo ham kevalo ham sada shivaha. Akarta ham. I am not the doer. Abhokta ham. So I am not the enjoyer also. Our case is ulta many times. We don't want to be the karta, but we want to be the bhokta. For some types of karma, we don't want to do the karma, but we want to enjoy the benefits of that. So hard work we don't want to do, but comfort we want. And sometimes the wrong karma that we do, so we are the karta, but we don't want to be the bhokta. No, I don't want to deal with this. Are you did this, now face the punishment, face the music. No, please, take this away. I don't want to face it. Vedanta is very clear. If you are the karta, you are the bhokta. You may run anywhere. The karma phala will chase you and bind you down. Finished. Because only the karta can be bhokta. So if I don't want to be a bhokta, I should not be the karta. And here it is not in selectively in choosing, okay, in this I am karta, in this I am not karta. No, in this the kartritva bhav is gone once and for all in everything. Why? Because a person woke up to realize the buddhi, we saw, no? Buddhi has got merged as well. Buddhi, Vishuddha, Galita, Pravritti. So karta bhav gone, bhokta bhav gone. Aham, akartaham, abhoktaham, avikaroham. There is no vikara. 6 vikaras of the mind, they don't apply to me. Akriyaha. And I am actionless. So akarta, abhokta is intellect level, avikara is mind level, akriya is at body level. What about action happening? A body is doing action. I am not the karta, no? So I am akriya. And if one is sitting quietly and contemplating in this way, then anyway one is akriya. Bodily one is not doing anything. Now what about if I contemplate while doing my work? While cooking, I can chant this shloka, na akarta ham, abhokta ham, put some rice, put some masala. Now one can do that. You remember, if you want to do, you can do that. But ideally, one is sitting quietly and withdrawing the attention from the BMI and contemplating. So akriya. Shuddha bodha swarupoham. I am of the nature of pure knowledge, consciousness. Kevaloham. I alone am. There is no one else. And what is my nature? Sadashiva. Always auspicious. Shuddha bodha swarupoham kevaloham sadashivam. So these are verses to experience and change one's identification. Drashtu shrotur vaktur kartuhu bhoktur vibhinna evaham nitya nirantara nishkriya nisima sangha purna bodhatma. He says drashtuhu shrotuhu vaktuhu kartuhu bhoktuhu vibhinna. I am different from all these. Aham, vibhinna eva aham. Who? The seer, hearer, speaker, doer, enjoyer. I am free from all these. So does it mean he is not seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching, feeling, thinking? That may be happening at the personality level, but the identification is not that I am this. As we said, the ahankara has got badhit. So even if all this is happening, one is knowing that this is unreal. Like the actor will say this, no? That I am not the seer or the doer or the enjoyer of that role. In that role, whatever that role has to do, that I may even act and do. But I am not that person, that entity. I am free from all those things. In the role, I may have no hands. But I am not like that. I have 2 hands. So reality is different from the role. Same way here. Drashtu, Shrotur, Bhoktu, Tartu. I am not. Then who am I? Nitya, Nirantara, Nishkriya. Eternal. Unbroken. Beyond all action. Nishkriya. Nisima. Without any boundaries. Nisima. Asanga. Unattached. And Purna Bodhatma. Of the nature of complete illumination. Not some partial glimpse or not some just vision that comes and goes. Abiding in the nature of the self, the Atma. Nahamidam nahamado apyu bhayoravabhasakam param shuddham brahmabhyantara shunyam purnam brahma dvitiyam evaham. See, in this the meter also has gone for a toss. We are trying to sing in some meter, but it is not in the Anushtup Sandha. So, nahamidam, nahamadaha. I am not this, not that. So this means something which is near, that means which is far. So the objects are called that, the subject is called this. So neither this nor that. I am neither, because I am a self which is the illuminer in both. So nahamidam nahamadaha. Nahamidam nahamado. Api ubhayor avabhasakam. I am the illuminer of both. Avabhasakam. Param Shuddham, most purest I am. Brahmabhyantara Shunyam. Sorry, Bahyabhyantara Shunyam. Free from this division of outside and inside. This outside and inside is with respect to body. Otherwise, there is no outside inside. In the dream world, what is outside and inside is only with reference to the body of the dream character. Otherwise, the whole dream world is an expression of the dreamer's mind. Outside, inside. And that's the most unique part. Our brain does not know difference between outside and inside. So if one sees, now I am seeing this computer. Now which part of my brain light up when I see the computer? The same part of the brain will light up if I close my eyes and imagine the computer. And for the brain, that imaginary computer is equal to this real computer. So brain doesn't know difference between outside and inside. But this mind knows, because his mind is identified with the body, and mind thinks I am this body, and then division of outside inside it creates after identifying with the body. Otherwise, physically by itself, the organ called brain doesn't know difference between outside and inside. So just see how the play of identification is. The mind identifies with this body, and then this difference is created, outside, inside. Now the body identification is gone. Person has realized the self. In that anyway there are no boundaries. It is boundaryless, that we saw earlier. So bahyabhyantara shunyam, without outside and inside division. Purnam is completeness, fullness, not dullness, not incompleteness, not blank, not thoughtless, is state of fullness, completeness. Brahma Advitiyam eva aham. I am that infinite non-dual Brahman. There is nothing more than that. Purnam. So for today we will stop here. These are verses now which are meant for contemplation. A few verses come like this. Since we have done these ideas before many times, again and again it has come in Vivek Chudamani. So we will take it up a little faster. So we will have the class tomorrow also. Monday we did not have, so tomorrow one more day we will have the class. Any question? Yeah.
Swamiji, about this inside outside, is it that when we feel I am the body, so things related to me and things outside, like we say I am neither the body nor this world is real? Is that what it is meaning, inside and outside?
No. Inside and outside, literally it is yes. The feeling of subject here, and the world is different from me as the object. So that way what you are saying is correct. That feeling has gone, because he said in the beginning, no, that I am an idam. I am not this, not that. So this is subject, that is the world. So in that sense, if you are saying inside is the subject and outside is the object, then yes, that's what his experience is. The subject and object duality is gone.
Okay, thank you, Swamiji.
Gitaji?
Hariam Swamiji, you said about the Bhav Advaitam Sadakarya. In that, the third one which you said, the Advaitam Guru.
Na Advaitam Guruna Saha. That is the last line.
Na Advaitam Guru Nashaha.
Guruna, 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 and then Saha, with.
Okay.
Na
That
Advaitam Guruna Saha.
Gurunasaha. Okay. And that is from Tattva.
Upadesh, Tattvopadesh.
Okay. Tattvopadesh. Thank you.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om